Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is 6th February 2024. In this video, let us generate bullish and bearish trade setups for monthly income trade and weekly income trade. So let us start with bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. In monthly income trade, entry time frame is daily. And because this is bullish trade setup, entry zone is a demand zone. And in this bullish or bearish trade setup parameter, in daily time frame, we have to select bullish. Now let us generate. Now all the bullish trade setup stocks are generated. Let me quickly scroll down. Any stock you want to refer, please pause the video and then study the parameters. I will be giving you only few seconds while scrolling down this page. So total 99 stocks are filtered. This is a very big list. So that is the reason why we will add additional filters and to find the right zones, demand zones for our trading purpose. We've been using some filters in the previous reports also. Same thing. The first filter is mostly you want fresh zones. So let me go back. And the test count, the last parameter in this page is a test count. In the test count in daily time frame, I am setting 0. 0, 0. That indicates the zone is a fresh zone, but we are allowing the rejections. So in the filtered list, let me scroll down quickly. 67 stocks are filtered. From 99, the list is come down to 67. And all these demand zones are having a count, test count as 0. That means they are all fresh zones. Maybe some stocks might be having rejection count. They might have been tested. But rejections always help us in identifying the real order flow in that zone. Because 67 is a very big number, we cannot analyze all these stocks. That is the reason why let us try to further filter this list. So for that, let me go back. Here, the next filter is we want stocks having good reward. At least 5% reward should be there for a monthly income trade between demand zone to supply zone. For that, there is a parameter called minimum range percent. This is a D to D range, distal line to distal line between demand and supply zones or between demand and all-time high. And minimum 5% should be there. We want only such kind of stocks. So that means if the reward is 5%, that is an excellent. So which time frame? On daily time frame, I am adding the value 5. Now only those demand zones having 5% reward, minimum 5%, maximum anything. See, now the list is further reduced. Let me scroll down. Now it's come down to 37. But even then, 37 is also a big number. So that's why, what is the next parameter we have to see? Let us find the stocks near to the demand zone so that we get a chance to get the trades immediately. So how do you set? We have a parameter in this page, the last parameter, maximum price percent to reach the zone. Here we will generate multiple reports. First, let us find very close to the zone. Let us say 1% level, within 1%. And if any stocks we identify, they most probably we may get a trade tomorrow itself. But very few stocks you will get. But within 1%, no stocks are there. So let me go back. What we do, we will change 1% to 2%. That means within 2% to the demand zone. Are there any stocks? Within 2% zone also there are no stocks near to the demand zone. That is fresh zones. All the zones having freshness 0. I mean test count 0. And within 2% we didn't find. So now let us increase the percent to 3%. Within the 3% to the demand zone, Are there any stocks are there? Let us try to find. I'm changing the 2% to 3% maximum. Now let us filter the stocks. See, now 3 stocks are filtered. Within the 3% of the zone, demand zone, we have 3 stocks: Federal Bank, JK Cement and MRF. If you want more list, now you can look for the stocks within 4% of the zone. See, when you are increasing the percent, probably they may not be triggered tomorrow. Maybe after 1 or 2 days they may trigger. Sometimes if the fall is heavy, probably tomorrow itself you get the trade. So 4% to increase the list. Now one more stock is added. Axis Bank is also added into the list. Axis Bank is between 3% to 4%, and remaining 3 stocks are within the 3% level to the demand zone. The distance from our demand zone to the current price, that is what we are calculating. Whatever the close price is there, current market price. Now let us see the maximum. We will limit always, we are limit the maximum percent to 5, because the reward is also, we set a minimum reward as 5%. So that's why maximum 5% within the zone any stocks are there, let us limit to that level. So I am setting the value on daily, instead of 4, now I am increasing to 5. Now finally 10 stocks are filtered. So the remaining stocks are within the 5% level, between 4% to 5% level. That way we have identified 10 stocks. Probably one of these stocks may get into your zone either tomorrow or day after tomorrow, or in next 2 to 3 days time period, or 1 to 3 days time period. You may get at least 1 trade from this list. And what is the advantage? All these zones, demand zones, are fresh zones. Maybe few stocks might be having a rejection count. Yeah, one stock is having rejection count, MRF. And look into the reward. All these stocks between demand zone and supply zone, the reward is a minimum 5% is there. But risk varies. But how to minimize the risk? You know the technique. But you already learned in chapter 16, zone confluence, fine tuning the zone. That way we can reduce the risk. If you reduce the risk, you may get even more reward. This is the minimum reward, what you are getting, what you can expect. Maximum reward you can get by fine tuning these zones, by minimizing the risk. If you go for type 2 proximal entry, you get even more reward. Type 3 proximal, even more record. Forget about this type 2 or type 3. Go for zone confluence. Finding a lower time frame zone, 75 minutes inside the daily, or inside that 75 minutes, find the 15 minutes or 5 minutes. That way you can fine tune the zone. That is what every day we are doing in our daily analysis videos. Same technique you can do and minimize the risk. That is an important skill everybody should build. That's why daily videos are very, very important. The daily HLQ zone analysis videos. Please, some people are thinking they are intraday related. No, it is not intraday. Maybe we may book the profit within the intraday, but the concepts still you can apply even in WIT as well as MIT trades. You may not exit during the intraday. You carry your positions, but the fine tuning the zone technique remains same here. Why? To minimize the risk. When you minimize the risk, suppose if the analysis goes against you, your loss will be limited, but your reward will be improved. And another advantage of fine tuning the zone is you will identify the price structure in the zone. Some zones are not having good price structure, they will be easily violated. That way we can identify the zones that can be violated easily. You cannot blindly take entries in all these demand zones. You have to fine tune, you have to ensure the order flow in that zone is good. There is a good order flow is there inside the zone, you have to ensure. Then only you have to take the trade. Whether you want to take at 5 minutes level or to 15 minutes level or 75 minutes level or directly at the type 1 or type 2 proximal line of the daily zones, that is up to you. That is based on your risk management. But quality of the zone is not there. mostly your zone will be violated, unnecessarily stop loss will hit. We want to avoid that. So that's why always remember this technique. This is about bullish trade setup. Now for daily time frame, that means for monthly income trade, LTF is a daily. Let us find bearish trade setup related stocks. So entry time frame is daily. This is LTF time frame. And now the zone, entry zone should be supply zone. Now which parameter, which value you want to set in bullish or bearish trade setup and daily time frame? We want to set up bearish. We want only bearish setup stocks. Only one stock is filtered, and that too this is a pierced zone. So we don't look for a MIT bearish trade setup, no suitable stocks are there. The one reason is now at present most of the stocks are near all-time high. That is the reason why you couldn't find bearish trade setup related stocks. But you may find in the 75 minutes time frame. That is WIT trades, weekly income trade. Okay, now let us generate a weekly income trade related stocks. We will start with the bullish trade setup. So in weekly income trade, the LTF time frame is either you can use 125 or 75, but I am limiting my discussion to 75 minutes only. I don't enter into 125. I don't want to increase the complexity. This itself is enough for you. 75 minutes, and entry zone should be demand zone. And in bullish or bearish trade setup, we are selecting 75 minutes as a bullish. Let us generate. You may get a very big list. For your reference, let me scroll down quickly, but don't forget to pause the video if you want to observe any particular stock parameters. So total 77 stocks are filtered. All these are all supporting a bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. But the list is big. Again, we will filter similar to the approach we followed for daily time frame. So let's go back, and we want fresh zones. So test count should be 0 for 75 minutes time frame. Earlier we used it for daily. Now you have to use it for 75 minutes. Test count, set the value 0, 0 for minimum 0, maximum 0. Now filter the stocks. Definitely the list would have been reduced now. Let me scroll down. From 79, the list is come down to 50. That means all these 50 stocks demand zones is having test count 0. Maybe few stocks might be having rejection count. Okay, because the number is big, further we need to filter. What is the next parameter we want to use filter? That is a reward. Reward is a D to D range. This is the one, the minimum range. This parameter is a D to D range. So 75 minutes, because this is a weekly income trade, let us set between 75 minutes demand zone to 75 minutes supply zone, at least 3%. Minimum 3% reward should be there. See, now the list from 50 stocks, now it's come down to 23 stocks. Still 23 is a big number. See here, current, so far what is the condition? All zones should be tested, fresh zones. That means test count should be 0, and reward, minimum reward should be 3%. Because the list is big, what we do? We can look for the stocks near to the zone, near to the demand zone. So for that, what we do, for minimum price person to reach the zone, this is 75 minutes you need to set. Let me set any 1% within the 75 minute zone. We may find some stocks, but here no stocks today. At least 1% near the 75 minutes. So what I do, change the 1% to 2%. So two stocks are there within the 2% level. That is below 2% level from the demand zone. Let us limit ourselves to 3% because minimum reward we set is 3%. So let us look for more stocks by increasing the percent from 2 to 3%. That means 3% before 75 minutes demand zone, 9 stocks are filtered. So within these 9 stocks, maybe a couple of stocks may reach maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, or few stocks may reach. So you can plan your trade in those stocks. But before planning, you have to make sure the risk should be properly managed. You cannot blindly take trades on these zones. You have to properly fine tune the zone. You have to make sure good risk should be minimized and reward should be good, RR should be there. Anyway, you have a minimum 3% reward. But if you minimize the risk, probably you get more reward. If you are a fresher, make sure at least 1:5 reward is there. If you are already having some experience, you can plan for 1:3 reward related also. Or if you are highly experienced, you can look for 1:2.5% reward also. So this is about bullish trade setup for 75 minutes. Now let us look for bearish trade setup for 75 minutes time frame. So changing the time frame to 75 minutes, that means it is a WIT setup. And entry zone should be supply zone. And your bullish or bearish trade setup, 75 minutes should be bearish. Now 9 stocks are filtered. These are the supply zones. If you want only fresh zones from these supply zones, let us set the test count. For 75 minutes, test count should be 0, 0. We are accepting rejection count, test count. Now from 9, the number is reduced to 7. Are there any stocks near the reward, at least minimum 3% reward if you want? Don't let us don't filter because the number is very less. Even less reward also I'm keeping. If you minimize the risk, you may get enough reward. What I do is any near to the zone are there. Let us find 1% level within that list. 75 minutes. Within 1%, any supply zones? One supply zone is there. Laurus Lab. But RR is not at all good, right? But you can still make RR. Reward is good. You have 3.74. Reward is there. You can make, if you reduce the risk, your reward may increase to even 4.5% or close to 5%. That possibility is there. At least for 4.5 or close to 5% will be there. If you reduce the risk by 1%, if you reduce the risk by 1%, how you can reduce the risk by 1%? One is based on proximal type entries, you can do the adjustment, or another one is based on the effective method is using zone confluence, that is fine tuning the zone. We have two advantages fine tuning. One is our risk will be minimized, and the second thing is if the price structures are not good, we will be in a position to identify the zone will work or it will be going to be violated. This is 1% level. Let us improve. Let us check any 2% level stocks within 2%. So from 1 I am changing to 2%. Now Bandhan Bank is also there within the 2% of the supply zone, because these are all the bearish trade setup. All these are all within 2% of the supply zone. Moreover, Laurus Lab supply zone is a high liquidity supply zone and a fresh zone. Only thing you need to check the structure of the zone is good or not. But here RR is not there, not good RR. If you want to get a good RR, you need to fine tune Bandhan Bank. So within 3% level, we will see any stocks from these 9 stocks. I'm changing 2% to 3%. One more stock we got, a CUB Cub. Out of those 7 stocks. So this is about bearish trade setup. Hope this information is useful to you for your further study and analysis. So let us all meet again in our next video. Thank you.